In today's video, I want to share with you a story unlike any other. A story that slipped quietly into my life one evening and left me changed forever. It's not easy to speak about. It lingers with me even now, like a whisper behind closed doors, like a secret I can never completely let go. Before we begin, don't forget to like this video, share your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe for more stories like this. Your support means more than I can ever put into words. Now gather close, because this is the story of the night my daughter's fiancé saw me in a way no one else ever had. The evening began like any other. The sun had slipped beneath the horizon, leaving a dusky glow that painted the walls in shades of gold and gray. The house was wrapped in silence, except for the muffled hum of conversation drifting faintly through my daughter's bedroom door. She was laughing in that bright, carefree way only young people in love can. Her voice lifted, light and melodic, spilling into the hallway as she spoke to her fiancé over FaceTime. Or so I thought. My husband, meanwhile, had disappeared into his office. That was his ritual. The glow of the desk lamp, the endless paperwork, the ticking of the clock. He lived in his own world once evening came. And I decided to shower. There is something sacred about a shower at the end of the day. The steam wraps around you like a blanket. The water washes away the fatigue, the worries, the masks you wear for everyone else. For a short while, you are just yourself. As I stepped out, droplets clung to my skin. My hair draped wet against my shoulders. The mirror was blurred with steam, and I felt suspended in that fragile moment where the world feels new again. I reached for my towel, old familiar, frayed at the edges but soft in its wear. The silence of the house wrapped around me like a second skin. And then, I felt it. Not sound. Not movement. Something else. The unmistakable weight of being watched. I turned slowly. And there, in the doorway, half hidden in the haze, stood Lucas. My daughter's fiancé. He wasn't supposed to be there. And yet, there he was. One hand rested on the doorknob. His body stilled, as though he'd stumbled into a moment he wasn't meant to see. His eyes, wide uncertain, locked on me. Neither of us spoke. The steam curled between us, soft and dreamlike, blurring the edges of reality. I should have pulled the towel closer. I should have demanded he leave. But something in his expression rooted me to the spot. It wasn't anger. It wasn't even embarrassment. It was something else. A silence stretched, heavy and unbearable. Seconds felt like minutes. And then, like someone waking from a trance, he pulled the door shut. A sharp thud. Footsteps retreated quickly down the hallway until they vanished into nothing. I stood frozen, the towel clutched tightly against me, my pulse racing. I should have felt shame. I should have felt anger. But instead, I felt something dangerously close to curiosity. That night, I could not sleep. The ceiling fan hummed softly above me, slicing the silence into rhythmic beats. From down the hall, the muffled sound of my husband's snoring drifted through the darkness. But all I could hear, truly hear, was the echo of my own heartbeat. I closed my eyes, trying to push away the image. But it returned, again and again. Lucas in the doorway, the stillness in his eyes, the way time itself had bent in that fragile moment. I shifted beneath the sheets. Restless, uneasy, awake far too long into the night. By morning, I had convinced myself it was nothing. Just an accident. A fleeting mistake. Something that would disappear with daylight. But daylight, I soon discovered, does not erase shadows. It only sharpens them. The kitchen smelled of coffee the next morning. My daughter was perched at the island, scrolling through her phone, laughter bubbling up as she shared plans for the wedding, flowers, dresses, color palettes. She radiated joy, unbothered, unburdened. And there, beside her, sat Lucas. Quiet. Still. His fingers wrapped around a mug of coffee, his gaze fixed on the dark liquid as if searching for answers in its depths. I placed a plate before him, and in that simple act, our hands brushed. Just the briefest contact. But in that brush, in that fraction of a second, a spark leapt. Small. Subtle. Yet undeniable. I caught his eyes for a fleeting moment. His face gave nothing away. But his silence, oh, his silence spoke volumes. I forced myself to look away, to breathe, to act as though nothing had passed between us. But deep inside, I knew everything had changed. It didn't end there. Later that afternoon, as I moved through the hallway with a basket of laundry, our paths crossed again. It should have been nothing. A simple passing by. But as we brushed past one another, his hand, whether by accident or intention, I cannot say, slid gently across my hip. A whisper of touch. Barely there. And yet it lingered. My breath caught. My steps faltered. He didn't speak. Neither did I. But the silence between us grew louder than words. That evening, the house fell quiet once more. My husband, once again, was shut away in his office. My daughter laughed into her phone, lost in the glow of her own world. I descended the stairs in silence, barefoot on the cool floor, the silk of my robe brushing against my skin. I poured myself a glass of wine, the soft clink of the bottle echoing in the stillness. When I turned, I saw him, Lucas, seated in the living room, eyes fixed on the muted television, though it was clear his thoughts were far elsewhere. Our eyes met. And just like the night before, time slowed. He rose slowly, deliberately, each step measured, controlled, as if the very air between us demanded care. "You looked beautiful this morning," he said quietly. His voice trembled, but his eyes did not. I swallowed, heat rising in my throat. "You really shouldn't say that," I whispered. But even as I spoke the words, I knew they rang hollow. He moved closer, stopping just short of me. Not touching, not daring, but near enough that I could feel the weight of his presence. The air between us crackled. A silence stretched, unbearable, unending. For a moment, I considered stepping back, turning away, restoring the boundaries that had been so carelessly broken. But I didn't, because some part of me, some hidden reckless part, didn't want to. Later that night, long after the house had fallen into silence, I sat awake in bed. The glass of wine still burned in my throat. My thoughts tumbled endlessly, tangled and restless. What had I allowed to happen? What line had I walked so close to crossing? I thought of my daughter, of her laughter, her joy, her love for him. I thought of my husband, buried in his work, unaware of the quiet storm brewing beneath his own roof. And I thought of Lucas, the stillness in his eyes, the words he had spoken, the silence that lingered between us like a flame waiting to catch. I pressed my palms to my face, overwhelmed. This was not a story of love, not a story of hate, but something far more dangerous, something that lived in the spaces between right and wrong, truth and silence. And even now, I know this. The story isn't over. Because secrets have a way of returning when you least expect them. Thank you for listening to this story. If it left you thinking, if it stirred something in you, don't forget to like the video, leave your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more. Sometimes the heaviest stories are the ones we carry in silence. And sometimes, sharing them is the only way to breathe again. Until next time.